There are certain instances when we're using the answer that we need to stretch the quads and the hip flexors before we do our exercise. So Ben is going to show us this morning how to measure himself for his middle quad stretch, which is called the rectus femoris. And Ben, go ahead and move directly to the side. You can see that Ben is making a fist, and without bending toward the stack, his fist is barely touching the stack there, stack of blocks. And the reason that we want to measure is because we want Ben to have the exact right height for his body size to do a quad stretch, an effective quad stretch. The next thing Ben is going to do is he's going to face away from the blocks. Very good. And you'll find something probably in your home like a couch or a chair or a bed. And if you can't find exactly the right height, then add pillows to whatever is closest to your height. And then Ben is going to reach back with his left leg to start so we can see what he's doing. He's going to put his entire ankle on the stack of blocks, and you can see that Ben's right knee is well forward of his left knee. And I call that about 4 inches, and that's what I recommend. And the next thing we're going to do in that position is we want to make sure that all of Ben's weight is over his right hip, not leaning backwards, not leaning frontwards, but right through his right hip. And then what he's going to do is he's going to go into a posterior pelvic tilt, a very, very slight one. He doesn't bend his back, he doesn't bend his head back. All he does is a very, very slight posterior pelvic tilt, where he will feel that stretch, and it'll be very, very subtle at first, will be right in the middle of his quad. After 10 seconds of that, he does not release the rotation, the posterior pelvic tilt, and then he will rotate just a little bit more. So effectively, what he's doing is he is contracting his glutes and his hamstrings, and only a little bit more at the time. And I'm just going to instruct Ben on something right now. While you're doing this exercise, you want to try to maintain your knee directly up underneath your hip and not let it bow outward. So Ben, why don't you hop inwardly just a little bit toward your other knee. There you go, and you can see his other knee came more straight down. And after 10 more seconds of that, and what we're going to do is we're going to do 6 10-second stretches to really release those quads, which are the main hip flexor that cause compensation patterns. And without bending back, he's going to rotate posteriorly even more from his pelvis without bending back. Make sure that the shoulders stay directly stacked over the hip joints. And after you've got done with complete 1 minute, 10-second intervals, never releasing your gain, then you've effectively stretched that rectus femoris. And relax and come down. Now Ben is fairly accomplished in balance, as you saw when he started to lose his. So what we're going to do is advise you when you first use it, or use it for one of your clients or athletes, to use a chair to stabilize and to be able to get in the correct position.